the two most important processes for the law of attraction to work for you every single time. Welcome back to another video. I'm Max Hindle I. I help entrepreneurs reprogram their lives, rewire their minds for happiness, success, abundance, fulfillment, confidence, you name it, I do it. And this video is all about LOA, law of attraction. You may have heard it. You may have heard of a book called The Secret. You may have heard of some other books. There's many other books out there about on the law of attraction, explaining how it works. Originally it was seen as spiritual. A lot now is coming out to prove that it's not just spiritual, and the quantum physics world is kind of proving that it's science-based as well, which I love. The reason the law of attraction works, and you listen to anyone, any mystic that's talked about this from years and years and years and years and years ago, to people like Wayne Dyer who recently left this earth, to even people like Esther Hicks, Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks, them type of people, and then moving down to people like Bob Proctor. There's so much information about the law of attraction, but how does it really work? I've been studying this for 5 years now, and I really love I love it. 5, maybe 6 years. I've been studying it for a while. And when I first read the book The Secret, I really got into it, and I really wanted to dive deep of how could I manifest things. When I first heard of it, I genuinely thought, if I think of £1 million, I'm going to be a millionaire. That's it. Life's done. I've sorted it. I've figured it out. I've figured out life. I'm sitting there going, £1 million, £1 million, £1 million, £1 million, £1 million, £1 million. I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. And I didn't got it. I didn't have it, unfortunately. But fortunately, actually, because what it did was it allowed my process to evolve into where I am today. And back then I was trying to manifest to win the lottery. I really wanted to, but that would have been the most illogical thing for me at that time. I was taking a lot of cocaine, and I genuinely remember I was sitting at a party with some friends, and I said, if I won the lottery right now, that whole table there would just be full of cocaine. So thank God the universe smacked me in the face and got me out of that situation. That's how bad it was. That was genuinely what I was desiring. So this is how it can shift for you, and this is why I'm glad I didn't understand it back then, but now I do understand it. And what it comes down to is 2 simple, easy steps. And don't get me wrong, it is a lot easier said than done, because you have to overcome your current environment. You have to overcome the current person that you already are in order to manifest that which you desire today. So I want you to begin to ask yourself, what is the difference between thinking something and actually manifesting something? Intention alone will not create the experience that you desire. Just thinking about, I want to be successful, won't necessarily get you there quick. That in your mind all the time will eventually get you there. You're literally activating part of the brain called the reticular activating system, which opens up and says, this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to find out how I'm going to get there. And the way I can explain this is, if you've always wanted a specific car, you've always wanted a specific phone, a bag, whatever it is, pair of shoes, you tend to see them everywhere. Why? Because your mind is focused on that. If you see a white Mercedes and that's the one car that you've already wanted, always wanted, you will always see that in the road. Why? Because your mind is now focused on it, and that is where it is taking its intention to, which is manifesting it back to you to say, that's my focus, that's my focus, that's my focus. And this is where things like vision boards work, virtual vision boards. If you're interested in virtual vision boards, click on the card up here, and it will take you to one of my virtual vision boards that helps you reprogram your mind for success, happiness, and abundance. But essentially what it is, it's programming your mind, or you're programming your mind to say, that is what I want, that is in my intention, and I'm going to get that. If you take action, it will eventually happen. And this is where you see these businessmen and businesswomen that are hugely successful, but they don't believe in the law of attraction. They've held a thought, an intention, they've moved into the being state of that person who would attract that thought and intention, and they've acted upon it, which manifests it into their life. So regardless whether they believe it or not, it's always working, regardless. And they've done studies before where they've tried to realize the difference between just intention alone. And intention alone doesn't physically change the chemical state in your body. It doesn't. It is not powerful enough. So then moving on to the second half, which is feeling. Even still, feeling alone doesn't change the chemical buildup of your body. It just doesn't change you. You can feel great, but if you're combining an intention, a powerful, positive, empowering intention with a powerful, positive and empowering feeling, you're going to get a powerful, positive and empowering outcome. Vice versa, if you're feeling something negative, sad, with a negative and sad intention, you're going to get a negative and sad outcome. When you realize that your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions become things, you start to change the way you do things. And this is exactly how I did it. When I was starting out and I realized I was negative, I was sad, I was depressed, I was unhappy, I did not want anything or anyone, I was just anxious all the time. I realized by listening to content, just like you're doing right now, I had to come out of myself and change who I wanted to be. So I changed everything in my life, completely flipped it on its head. Went from drinking, smoking, taking drugs, to meditating, being vegan, eating healthy, working out, and creating content online. Whereas before I was a very anxious person, so speaking to a camera, let alone speaking to a person, was just hard enough as it was. And even if you go back to watch my first ever videos, it's me sitting there talking like this. There's just not much expression to it whatsoever, and it was just completely one tone, and I'm just looking at the camera and I'm trying not to get too nervous, and I used to speak like that, whereas now I understand how I want to be, so I move into that state of being, which is that of more expressive. And I'm more introverted, but I express myself on camera because it allows you to understand things in much better depth. And when we start to feel an intention, if you start to like these videos and you start to feel something that is powerful and positive, and I'm giving you something that is powerful that you can switch your attention to, you will start to see these things manifest into your life. And the law of attraction works by saying thoughts become things. But not just thoughts. Thoughts plus feelings equals things. Thoughts plus feelings equals manifestations. Feelings plus intention equals manifestations. It will come to you because your focus is on the manifestation. You're feeling an elevated emotion, which is that of love, gratitude, peace, bliss, joy, whatever it is. And if you read a book called Power versus Force, there's a chart on it that explains the high vibrational states. I will put it here. And basically what this chart shows is the different states that you can get into and the negative states that you could be in right now. And if you are, that's perfectly fine. That's normal. It's literally there. It's on the chart. So that's perfectly normal. The difference is you don't want to stay there and I don't want you to stay there. So how can we start to raise our vibration? And there's very, very simple things that we can start to do. One of them is assessing our circle, who we're around, what we're listening to, the information we are consuming. Are you listening to powerful, positive content every single day? If not, step one, start there. And then it's really assessing, and I can explain this in another video, explaining how you can really go into that. But essentially what you need to do is you need to raise that vibration up, 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 all the way up to something of love, all the way up to something of joy, peace, bliss, contentment. Because when you start to get to that place, an elevated emotion combined with that intention manifests things into your life. So essentially, for things to change, you've got to change. And just in one of Joe Dispenza's recent books, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is saying if you want to create a new personal reality, you have to change your personality. Your personality creates your personal reality. So if your personality right now is that of worried, fearful, scared, anxious, depressed, then what you want to do is you want to change that to a different personality. How do you begin to do that? Change each aspect of your life. How do you walk? Go down to the very, very basics. How do you walk? How do you talk? How do you think? How do you feel? What do you eat? What do you read? What content do you consume? Who do you speak to? Who do you listen to? When you start to change these things, your personality begins to change. And whereas before I would have claimed myself as an anxious, shy, worried, fearful, depressed person, now I would not even associate with that. Whereas if you look at every potential reality out there, and when you understand the many worlds theory, which I will explain in another video, you understand that every possible potential outcome is already in the quantum field. And knowing that everything that is made up of matter is actually 99.99999% energy, everything, and this is physics, this is quantum physics now, and this isn't coming from me, this is coming from studies of absolute geniuses in this field. And if you really understand it, it begins to make a bit of sense, and it starts to realize that everything that you want in your life is already a potential outcome. And just like Jim Carrey said, when he used to drive up on Mulholland Drive, and he would always be visualizing himself thinking, the things are already out there, I just don't have them in my possession yet. They're already there, they're already here. Every potential outcome that you can think of right now, probably ones that you can't even think of, are already happening. The one where you are depressed, fearful, worried the whole of your life. The one where you are happy, successful, free the whole of your life. The one where you are a professional athlete the whole of your life. All of these potential outcomes are there, and what it comes down to is, are your thoughts aligned with your feelings and your actions in order to create and manifest these things into your reality? Because when you step into a new state of being, which is your thought, feelings, intentions, actions, when you move into this state of being, things begin to change. You begin to change. Things begin to shift. Now, how does this happen? It is just the way of the energy. We are energy. Emotion is our energy in motion. So if our energy is in motion, that is creating our emotion. So that is where we start to feel higher vibrational emotions. And when you feel higher vibrational emotions, your feeling state begins to feel that every single day. And what does someone who is positive, happy, optimistic manifest into their life? Exactly that. And then vice versa, what does someone who is negative, depressed and fearful manifest into their life? Exactly that. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong at all. It just means they need to understand, develop and read and understand this stuff a little bit more. Because I know what it's like to be in that place. And I know that I got myself out, and if it's possible for one person, it's possible for every person. There truly are excuses. We all have great excuses. If we fight for our excuses, we're never going to change. If we choose to make these changes today, we will never ever fight for our excuses evermore. And I generally see life from this perspective now. Even when bad things happen, I see it from a perspective of, if that happened in a different way, I would have got a different outcome. If my life would have been so easy in the past, I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. If I wouldn't have been taking loads of drugs, I wouldn't be so against it right now. I could have got to 30 years old and thought, what if I took drugs? I wonder what that would be like. I'm glad I've done that. I'm glad I'm out of that phase. Because when we start to be grateful for our past, we start to be grateful for our present, the future's going to be grateful. Every day's going to be grateful, and it just begins to be a great life that you deserve as well. So if you want any more information on how the law of attraction truly works and moving into the science behind it, please do send me a message on Instagram. Leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to answer as well. But other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you keep spreading love, kindness and so much positivity.